Hello, Terry. How are you today, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. Happy to get back to work today. How about yourself?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So,
Unfortunately, there's a little bit of an echo again today. I don't know why that is, Terry, but we have the echo. Well, with the new week, we got some new stuff for you today, too, Terry. I talked about this with you, and Sean and I used to do a baseball show, a football show, sports show, and I know that there's probably a lot of folks that like to also engage in some sports playing, right? So I did a lot of homework, a lot of research, wanted to find somebody that we can introduce to you that might have actually has a really good track record. It's actually a statistics professor, which is I think awesome when you're looking at sports. And it's the show I want to, you guys like baseball, head on over to Picks with the Professor. Make sure you hit that up in the search bar on YouTube. It's got a great show over there, but every single day Professor Sides makes his play of the day. And yesterday, his play of the day in baseball, he had three of them yesterday. He had a straight up play and a parlay, and they both hit. So we wanted to make sure that if you do indeed like sports, you like to play a little bit, of course, responsibly on the major sports, football. He does baseball, college basketball, and college football. But today, his pick of the day, play of the day, and you can get this over at the picks with theprofessor.com/play. He likes the Tampa Bay Rays today at plus 105. And again, I did a lot of research before reaching out to Professor Sides. You can see his history right here. Puts everything out there in the open. He's got a positive ROI, up 10 units. That's the way you want to see it. And there you have all of his picks. So again, there is a link in the description here on YouTube. So if you want to head over, well, please head on over to the Picks with the Professor's YouTube show. Check that out and support him. Let him know that you came over in the comment section from horseracingtoday.net. We'd greatly appreciate it, and I think you're going to appreciate when you cash tonight on the Rays at plus 105. If not today, soon, right, Terry? Absolutely, 100%. Well, Terry and I are hoping to cash today at Parx, as we do almost every Monday, right, Terry? Except for last week, holidays when there's a big one. Maybe you could try to unmute again, Terry, see if the echo stays or not. But today at Parx, we're going to start off as 11 races on the card. The weather today is supposed to be nice. The very few scratches, which was nice. The dirt track is fast. The turf course is firm. You ready to start, Terry, with race number one?
I am.
All right. We got 6 furlongs claiming $7,500. Hold on one second, Terry. In my excitement to get ready for today, I forgot to do one small thing, which is something I need to do every day. And that is to get the races to where I can see them and talk a little bit about the conditions. So again, this is a 6 furlong race. It is a claiming 7,500 non-winners of 4 lifetime. And we'll talk a little bit about the distance, the profile of a winner at the distance and the surface. If you just give me a second here, I apologize. But all right, here we go. So race number 1, 6 furlongs. This week, instead of looking at the full meet numbers, I just looked at last week to kind of get a sense of what the prevailing track bias is. But I used the entirety for the post position. So last week, there were 8 races at 6 furlongs, 7 won by speed, 3 of which have gone wire to wire. There still is a rail penalty. You get a little bit of a bonus if you get a number 2 or 3, and you get a slight penalty, ever so slight, from 4 and out. All right, Terry, kick off the new week with your picks.
Well, I like in this first race, they're girls. I like number 4, Imperial Moon. She won her last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last race speed rating, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. She has a trainer who wins 18% of the time when in races when he's claimed a horse or claimed repeater. And she has a really good jockey combination of trainer of 14 days. They've won 2 out of the 3 races and finished second in the other one. And she marks a lot of the boxes off. And then I like number 1, Hey Duzpot. She has won 2 races out of the last 4 at Parx Racing, finishing a disappointing last race with a new jockey. But now she returns to regular jockey Ruben Silveira, who won with her the last time he rode her. And she has a high percentage winning trainer. Then number 5, Memphis Mafia is my third pick. She has won 2 out of 8 starts at Parx Racing, drops in class today, and the distance is something she can handle. And then number 2, Congrats Answers, my fourth pick. She likes the track, finishing in the money 50% of the time, winning 19% of the races, and likes the distance, finishing the money 50% of the time, and wins 30% of those races.
I'm going to start with number 4, too, Imperial Moon. This one runs her best with an uncontested lead, and I think based upon the early pace figures, could have a 1.5 to 2 length early advantage over the rest of the field, which could be enough to bring her home first. Memphis Mafia, that's Elvis, right? It's my second choice. This one is a pressure horse that should ride co-pilot right behind Imperial Moon and capitalize if Imperial Moon happens to falter. Number 2, Congrats Answer. This one has the best late run in the group, and last time out showed some improved numbers across the board. I think this one has a really good chance to move forward in the third start off the break. And then finally, number 1, Hey Deuce Potts. This one can win from on the pace or off the pace, so it has a little bit of what Terry likes in a horse, some versatility. She drops back to a level where she's recently won 2 out of 3, but the unfortunate thing is she catches the rail post, which is not a place that you want to be at 6 furlongs at Parx, at least not that often. Then we're going to go off to, I got to put the pick of the day up there again. I got to get to the right stuff here. Race number 2 at too many buttons to press today, Terry. Okay, race number 2, 6.5 furlongs, a maiden claiming $25,000 race. At 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Last week, they ran 3 races, 2 of which were won from off the pace. The other one went wire to wire. Unlike 6 furlongs, at 6.5 furlongs, there is a rail bonus. 2 through 7 play fair, and you get a slight penalty if you wear an 8 or out.
Well, I like the number 6 horse as my first pick in here, Ageless Endeavor. He has finished in the money in 4 out of 5 career races, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And then my second pick is number 4, Muttley. He ran second versus similar in his last race, has the highest last race speed rating. His best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters, and the trainer in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 4 starts. And then I like number 7, my third pick, Clear Cut. He drops in class today, has a trainer who wins 40% of the races when taking a horse from a maiden to a maiden claiming race, and the jockey in the last 7 days has finished in the money 50% of the time, winning 2 of those races. Then I like the fourth pick, number 2, Deplane. He drops in class today and may be closing at the end to try and catch the leaders.
All right. For me in race number 2, I'm going to start with a horse you don't even have, Terry. This is number 5, Golden Wildcat. It's a first-time starter. So, I mean, I don't really think there's a whole lot to beat here. But this one is trained by Ernest Padillo Precadio, who is absolutely destroying it with first-time starters. I mean, not throwing a whole of them lot out there, but it's won 6 out of 13 with the first-timers. And when you also go to the debut at maiden claiming, hit at 4 out of 9. So when he throws a newbie out there, it tends to perform well. Number 6, your top choice, my second choice, Ageless Endeavor. Terry, I think that's you, my friend. This one probably runs co-pilot to the pace setter, but has more late pace. And then you got trainer John Service, who's clicking at 32%. That's a pretty good number when he runs a horse around the track the second time around after it gets Lasix. Muttley probably breaks to the lead in this spot here, Terry. Did put up better pace numbers across the board from start to the middle to the end of its last race. And that was at 6.5 furlongs versus 6 furlongs the previous start. The only question is, can Muttley hang on late? Tends to get out to a good start and then kind of back up a little bit as the race goes on. Finally, number 7, Clear Cut. Didn't miss by much when he tried this level 3 races back, but then did move up the ladder 2 consecutive races in a row. Might be the kind that needs the lead here, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think that's going to go to the 4 horse. I don't know. You know, sometimes horses, if they don't win, when they move this one up the ladder, they can lose their confidence. Race number 3, Terry, is a 6.5 furlong race. It is, as we mentioned, one where speed tends to do okay. You get a little bit of a bonus at the rail. This one is a claiming $12,500, non-winners of 3 lifetime. We both are going to start off with number 7.
That's right. I like number 7, Pylon. He ran second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing. He likes the track finishing in the money 44% of the time, and he's won 11% of those races. And then I like number 4 is my second pick, Him, She Kisses. He drops in class today and switches to high percentage winning jockey. Then my third pick is number 5, Indirectly. He has finished second in 3 of his last 4 races and will be closing to try and catch the leaders. And then number 6, I like as my fourth pick, Spectacular Kid. He ran second versus similar in his last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last race speed rating, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters.
I'm going to start race number 3, just like you, with Pylon. This one ran some better early fractions in its last start. I always like to see horses on the improve with their times. That resulted in better 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers. And I think Pylon will be on or maybe near the lead from beginning to end, all the way around the track. You'll see that 7. Number 2, E.T. Candies Man is my second pick. This one had a better effort in the last half of its previous outing. It's the third off the bench for the horse, which, if you look back in the history, should be the best of the 3-race cycle. Number 4, Him, She Kisses. Should get a good trip, I think, this horse, Terry. Should sit right in the middle of the pack. And then every now and then, not always, but sometimes it pops a really big punch at the end of a race. So if it can pop one of those here, sit mid-pack, could roll right by everybody as they get to the wire. And then Busy Gillespie. Been off since May the 30th. There's a little time on the bench there. It's a really pair of nice workouts on paper, kind of fast ones there. And rides the 20% winning rail at a distance that he's won 2 out of 3 races. Race number 4, Terry, as we move on, is a 1-mile race. It is optional claiming 12,500 for non-winners of 3 lifetime. And if we take a quick gander at 1 mile on the main track, it looks like last week they only had 1 race. The winner went wire to wire. But overall, there's been a slight rail penalty from the post positions. 2 through 7 have played fair. And you get a major penalty if you wear an 8 or up. Race number 4 is my long shot of the day, Relativia. That sounds about right. The resume says that when he starts to trend north with his speed numbers, it continues for 3 consecutive races. This will be race number 3 in that trend. I'm hoping it continues to hold. And then Relativia, sounds about right, ends up as my long shot of the day, Terry. You have it in, you don't even have Relatively in your pick, so I should be concerned.
Yeah, and you might be, yeah. I like the number 2, The Method. He won his last race at Parx Racing. He has the highest last speed rating, and he drops in class today. Then number 5, Jarlian. He has finished second in his last 2 races at Parx Racing at today's distance, and the jockey in the last 7 days has won 2 out of 8 starts, a second and a third. And then my third pick, number 7, Just a Thought. He ran against a tougher field in his last race and finished a disappointing race and now drops back in price. He has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And then number 1, Keith. I think that's how you pronounce it. He likes the track finishing in the money 33% of the time and winning 33% of the races, and likes the distance finishing in the money 50% of the time and winning 25% of those races.
As I mentioned, I do like Relatively as my long shot here in race number 4. Number 7 is my second choice, Just a Thought. This one should be a peak performer in his third start after a layoff. Smoked the field the last time out in the third race in the 3-race cycle. Jarlin, the 5 horse, is the top late pace horse in the field. Showed more in the first half mile of its last race, so working a little bit on that first part of the race to combine it with the latter part of the race. And it's been knocking on the distance door, Terry. 4 times out at the distance with 3/3. So it likes to hang a little bit at the end there. And finally, number 1, Sopanra. Sounds about right. I think this one's most likely going to be a pretty good price, but does have a decided early pace advantage over the rest of the field. It's going long for the first time, which should actually accentuate that early pace advantage, make it even faster. If he can get out to a 2, maybe 3 or 4 length lead, his confidence grows, and it could carry him home wire to wire as a bomb. And I know Jared likes those bombs, Terry, right? So hopefully Jared, you got this in your picks for today. Before we move on to the next spot, Terry, it is your best bet of the day, but you also have a best bet today over at Colonial Downs. Before you get to Colonial Downs, how did your stuff do yesterday?
All right. My best bet yesterday was at Pleasanton, their closing day. I like in the 5th race, number 7, Zuzu Flynn, who won the race and paid $5.20, $3.20, and $2.20. And then I liked number 5, who was scratched. And then number 1's Last Starfighter, who ran 3rd.
All right. So today is opening day at Colonial Downs. So we're going to celebrate that, Terry, with your best bet of the day at the Virginia track.
That's right.
Arlington East now.
That's pretty cool. Anyway, it's the race number 8, and I like number 1, Passion Play. He won his last race at Colonial Downs, where he has a perfect record: 3 starts, 3 wins. The rail post is winning at a 19% clip in the last, last time.
It's been winning at 19%.
Yeah, and he
at
has
some point in time.
Yeah, he has a bullet workout on July 5th. Of 101.3, and my second pick is number 3, Largent. He comes in from Gulfstream Park to attempt to keep his record perfect at Colonial Downs and gets his second win there. He is a G2 winner and Grade 2 winner, and either can lead or come from off the pace, which you've said is something I really like. And then number 6, Good Luck Chuck. He has won 3 races in a row. The last race was at Delaware Park, and he won it easily. He will go to the front and try to lead all the way to the finish line.
All right. And then we added on here now Terry's stats. And I don't know why it looks like that, so I have to go back and edit it because that just looks like hell. So I have to figure out what I did wrong. I have to probably shrink up the stats a little bit there. But all right. It didn't look like that when I posted it, though, so I don't know. Oh, I know why that is, because I blew up the screen. So
that moves over.
Yeah, it still doesn't do it. All right, well, never mind. That's not a good excuse. All right, so we're going to move off now to race number 5, Terry, which is where you actually have your best bet at Parx. Sounds like you're echoing again, so I'm going to mute you for just a second, Terry. Race number 5 is a 6.5 furlong race. It's a maiden claiming 16,000, and as we talked about, Terry, before, it's 6.5 furlongs. You need some speed. The rail does okay. You have your best bet today at 6.5 furlongs in this maiden claiming race, and I can't understand for the life of me how you can make this one your best bet, because I think this race is a toss-up. But why is the 4-horse going to turn this toss-up into an easy W?
Well, I like the 4-horse Debbie Surprise because she ran second in her last race at Parx Racing after taking a 9-month break, which shows she's in condition to me. Has the highest last race speed rating, and the trainer wins 23% of the time when he uses Lasix for the first time. And my daughter's name is Debbie. So number 5, Pop the Clutch. Her best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and she has a trainer jockey combination, who in the last 7 days, out of 7 starts, have won 2, second twice, third twice. Then I like number 3, Snappy Ride. She tried a mile in her last race and experienced minor trouble running a disappointing race, but may improve while returning to a sprint. And then number 6, my 4th pick, Ruby Dooby Doo. She can improve while returning to a sprint, and she has a trainer jockey combination who in the last 14 days have been in the money 3 out of 3 times.
Hey, Tim Murray, how are you doing today? We're going to do on Wednesday Delaware Park, and the reason we do Delaware on Wednesdays is because we have, for whatever reason, we have a pretty strong fan base in Turkey. And Delaware is one of the tracks that they're actually allowed to bet on in the United States on Wednesday. So we do Delaware. And imagine you have a horse running on Wednesday. Where's your horse running on Wednesday, Tim? Let us know. And that way we can make sure we make a note of it on Wednesday and let everybody know to go over to that track and put a few bucks on Tim's horse and hopefully bring home a winner. All right, for me, Terry, in race number 5, I have the 4-horse as well as my top pick. So hopefully that means it comes home as a winner for you, as your best bet of the day. Moving up in class from maiden claiming 10,000, which is not my favorite thing, especially in these maiden races. I'd rather see them going down than going up. And I know you don't mind class risers. I don't mind class risers when they're winning and they're moving up the scale. I don't like class risers when they're not winning, they haven't won, and they're moving up the scale. But anyway, did flash some early pace last time out. Gets Lasix. for the first time in its third career start. So it doesn't really have a lot of back history. So there is room for improvement. Like the early speed, like the late 6, you put that duo together and they usually do okay. Number 7, Bella Maria. This one I think is going to be on the front. Only one career start, however. And in that race, it was decently bet. Number 3, Snappy Ride, cuts back in distance. And her early pace numbers and sprints put her really close to, if not on the front of the pack. But with 7 races and consistent numbers, there's not a lot of variance in her speed numbers or in her pace numbers. You're going to get what you're going to get out of Snappy Ride. Maybe catching a weight break for the first time is helpful here for Snappy. Finally, Fiji's Tail. It's a first-time starter that, quite honestly, in this field, doesn't have a whole lot to beat. I don't really think it needs to run a great race to win. An okay effort might be enough to take home this maiden claim in $16,000 race. It's also, Terry, the race that ends the first pick 4, if I remember. No, is that race 6, right? That ends the first pick 4. Right? See, Tim says, Presque Isle Downs, race 3 makes no sense. So make a note of that, Terry. I'll make a note of it, too, that on Wednesday, that is Tim's horse running, and we'll go ahead and make sure to bring that out. Good morning, Troy. Nice to see you. Nice to comment. We appreciate you joining us today. Hopefully, you appreciate the work we do when Parx is done running. Ain't that that's the goal, right, Terry? All right. So let's see. Keep the free picks coming. All right, we're doing our best. Hopefully, what's free doesn't matter. Winning is what matters. That's the thing we're trying to hit on. So we do all right, Terry and I. All right, so the race we're going to move on to now is race number 6 at Parx. This one is 1 mile. It's a claimer for $7,500. And as we mentioned last week, they ran one race at it. Speed kind of wins 1 mile. You also want to have you don't want to be on the rail because you get a penalty. 2 through 7 play pretty fair. If you get an 8 or out, you get a big penalty. So Terry says to hell with the rail penalty. It's only a slight penalty. He's going to make his long shot of the day, the rail horse.
That's right. I'm going to do that. And I like that number 1, Manila. She won her last race at Gulfstream Park, has the highest race speed rating, and she drops in class today. Then I like number 3, Brody Slam. Is my second choice. She won her last race at Parx Racing, drops in class today, and has a high percentage winning trainer. Number 5, my third pick, Relentless Ruby. She won her last race at Penn National and has a trainer who wins 23% of the races with bringing claim repeaters back. And then number 7, my fourth pick, the biggest one. She finished 3rd versus similar in her last race. Her best dirt speed is fast as Monk today started, and her early speed running style will help her chances.
All right. For me in race number 6, this 1 mile affair, I'm going to start with your last one as my first one, the biggest one. Because the biggest one's pace numbers suggest she might be 2+ lengths ahead of the pack at the half. She won by 7 lengths the last time she had a 2-length lead after a half mile. So clearly the confidence will grow if she gets that sort of lead. Number 1, Manuela. This is a Gulfstream Park dropper that is 2 for 2 at the distance in catching a slight weight break here. Number 3, Brody Slam won her last race by 6 1/4 lengths with substantially better 2 and 4 furlong pace numbers. Did run a peak speed number last out. A lot of times that's a concern for me. But when you look at the last time she peaked out on the speed chart, she actually came out to run better fractions the next time out and the same speed figure. So I'm expecting maybe a little bit faster race, pretty similar type race from Brody Slam here. And then Relentless Ruby is the 4th choice for me in race number 6. Went wire to wire at Penn in her last. And you know, Terry, I'm not a big fan of the Penn to Parx angle. I like the Parx to Penn angle, but not the other way around. But she's had some success at Parx. Ran there 6 times with a win, nothing in the middle and 2/3. And I also like the 2 Lou's duo, and that is Luis Ocasio and Louis Linder. You put those 2 Lou's together, and they've combined for a positive ROI of $1 and almost a nickel, $1.04. And that brings in our prime hot dog pick 4s, which Terry and I put together pick 4s The hot dog pick 4 is we only get a $20 budget, so we have to really be astute with our handicapping. Terry, we both have the same idea. We just executed a little bit differently. Why did you single up the 4?
Well, of course, it's my best bet of the day. So, that's one of the big reasons. I actually think that horse is going to do really well in that race. So I think the other races are a little more wide open.
I was ready to press the all button in that race. For me, in race number 3, I feel like Pylon. I think this card is kind of difficult to really find a real single in the whole card. The 7 horse, to me, Pylon, I felt like had a pretty good pace advantage over the rest of that field and has a shot where speed matters to get to the lead and not give it up. Looks like the horse is trending in the right direction. And heck, if things go right for me, it can just go 7, 7, 7, 7, 7 all the way down. And I really feel like I'm in Vegas. Race number, well, we're going to go right to 7s, Terry, right? This is a couple of different things for us on race number 7. Race number 7 is a 6 furlong race. Is 6 furlongs, Terry. So far, you don't want to be on the rail. That's the primary angle. And I also think you got to have a little bit of speed. I'm going to run through why the 3 horse is my best bet, Terry, and then you could take us through your box it up. For me, I like the 3 horse Off the Meds, which is what a lot of people think about me most of the time. As the top last race speed figure, has performed fairly well at Parx 14 times out with 3s across the board for win, place, and show. Horse is a closer, and maybe 6 furlongs is not long enough for this horse, maybe more of a distance horse. But I feel like the pace is going to set up in such a way that Off the Meds will have a really good shot at a decent price to come home first. It's also your box it up race, Terry. You don't have Off the Meds in yours. Our box it up is when we take 4 horses, put them together in a $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box. It's a race where we feel like you get value. Terry, take us through your box it up.
All right. Well, I like the number 1, Keeping the Peace. He has finished in the money in his last 3 races, finishing second in the last race at Parx Racing, and the distance is something he can handle. Then your best bet, number 3, Off the Meds. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last race speed rating, and a high percentage winning jockey. Number 7, my 3rd pick, Silver Fury. He was beaten by 4 lengths in the last race, drops in class today, and his jockey in the last 7 days have finished in the money 50% of the time, winning 2 of those races. And then number 6, Tomater Gator. He finished 3rd versus similar in his last race, and his best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And as you can see with the picks that I've done and the picks that Rich has done, this is a pretty wide open race, so there should be some maybe good prices.
Well, that's the idea behind the box it up. We're hoping to catch a price in our box it up. We're going to actually go back-to-back box it up. But before we go back-to-back box it up, Terry, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what I like in race number 7. In race number 7, I have, as I mentioned, Off the Meds as my long shot of the day, or my best bet of the day. Let's hopefully that works out. Number 1, Keeping the Peace is my second choice. Ran a little faster, 6.5 furlongs last time out. Should be close to the pace, and does, if it is close to the pace, has some of the best late pace numbers in the field. Number 2, Lawn Boy is the 3rd choice in race number 7. This one's running at the lowest level it's performed at in a long time. Trainer Ralph Revizio. There we go. Ralph Revizio. Hit 4 out of 16 times so far this year when he's moved his horse down a couple of classes. Fractions at 6.5 furlongs last time out were just as fast as they were at 5.5 furlongs out in the previous race. And as you know, Terry, when they run the same fractions at a longer race, it actually means they ran faster. Number 4, No Fooling Dude, has the Lone E designation in the field, so he should get to the lead. Also has the best early pace numbers in the field, and if he can catch the right fractions, has a really good chance to take the field from wire to wire. Race 8, Terry, is a 1.70 miles on the main track. It is a 5,000, claiming 5,000, non-winners of 1. Purse of $18,000, so they're running for a little bit of money here. It is my box it up in here, Terry. And again, our box it up, we do 4 horses, and $1 exacta box, 50-cent trifecta box, 10-cent superfecta box. I like the 3-horse in here. Abihail as my top choice. Horse was a little bit better early out of the gates last time, and also a little bit better late. So got off to a better start, had a little better end, a little bit of flatten out in the middle. Some people call that a Z pattern. That, whatever pattern it is, turned out to be the top last race speed figure. Has had some success at Park, running at the track in Philadelphia 18 times, collecting 4 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. Tried her luck at other tracks 5 times and has as many wins, places, and shows as you and I do. Upgrading to jockey Silvestre Gonzalez, who rode this horse the last time it won, and that effort was a wire-to-wire win by not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 9 3/4 lengths. Number 6, Angel Rafael. This one is the early pace advantage horse in this field. If he can get to the lead, has a 10-pound weight break, which I think could help the horse maintain that speed a bit longer. But you got a couple of really trends here that are going to be tough to break. The jockey Pedro Mercedes, so far 35 mounts, no wins. Trainer Edwin Melendez, so far 31 races out to the track, 0 wins. So one of those O's, well, maybe both O's can go today. Number 4, Taylor's Bell, beat some of these in the last race. But to be honest with you, that effort wasn't all that inspiring, but still hurt animals. Beat him once, can beat him again. And then finally, number 2, Party in the Sand, is which we always want to do, Terry. That's what you do when you go on vacation. Jockey Andrew Wolfsant and trainer Guadalupe Guerrero, together they click at 29%. They generate a positive ROI of 21 cents. And in this race, which is up for grabs, I think you got to take anything you can get that actually returns a positive number on your investment. What do you like in race number 8?
Okay, I like the number 4, Taylor's Bell. She finished second versus similar in her last race and at Parx Racing. And regular rider Abner Adorno is back in the irons. And then number 2, Party in the Sand, my second pick. She has finished in the money in 7 out of 18 races at Parx Racing, winning 3 of those contests. She will be closing to try and win this race in this wide open affair. And then number 3, Abihail, I guess. She finished third versus similar in her last race at Parx Racing, has a highest last race speed rating, and switches to a high percentage winning jockey. And then my 4th pick, number 5, Hola Princess. She finished third versus similar in her last race, has the highest speed figure at today's distance. Her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. And the jockey in the last 7 days, as I've said 2 or 3 times, has been in the money 50% of the time.
Doing well. Race number 9 is a mile and a 16th on the turf. It's the marquee race of the day, or at least one of them. It's allowance $25,000. They really don't run a whole lot of races at a mile and a 16th on the Philadelphia grass. They ran one last week. It was won by speed. They've only run 6 so far on the year. However, 4 of those 6 were won from off the pace. So far in all of the races, there has been an outside to in bias. So the farther away you are from the rail, it seems the better off you're going to be. And of course, we both start close to the rail here, Terry.
So, well, I like in this race number 3, Boom Boom Girl. She has finished in the money in the last 6 races, won 3 of those races at Parx Racing. And then she has a high percentage winning trainer. Then number 2, Ampio, and I can't pronounce that last name, Esquema.
Amplio Esquema.
All right. Well, she won her last race at Parx Racing, has the highest last race speed rating, and the trainer wins 19% of the time when he brings a horse to a new track to run. And then number 4 is my 3rd pick, In a Spin. She has won 2 races in a row and is going for a hat trick in today's race. And then number 7, Graviton. She has won 2 races out of the last 3 starts, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey.
For me, I'm going to start with Ampio Esquema. Never missed on the board at the distance, Terry. I've tried it 7 times, 2 wins, 3 seconds, and 2/3. So that adds up to 7, I hope. It would be a hell of a thing to say never missed in 7. It only adds up to 6, right? This one's a track dropper from Laurel Park, 3rd off a layoff, and last time out did show some improvement early on in the race. which is usually a good indication of a horse that's on the upswing. In a spin, the 4 horse is the second choice here in race 9. This one's coming in from Laurel Park and Gulfstream Park. So again, another track dropper. It's won 3 out of her 4 starts on the turf. Does have the top pedigree for the surface. Should improve in the second race after a limited layoff. Solemn Oath is the 1 horse. Did run better times at 1 mile and 70 yards on grass in her last start than 7 furlongs on dirt in the previous start. And usually horses don't run as fast on turf as they do on dirt. And usually if you run at 1 mile and 70 yards, the times are a little bit slower than 7 furlongs. So a lot of good in that effort last time out. Number 7, Graviton is the final choice in race number 9. Has the edge out of the gates, so usually breaks pretty sharp. First or second, has the early pace, top early pace numbers for this field. Has been effective on turf, out 5 times, 3 seconds and 2 wins, just hasn't collected the big check yet. So maybe today's that day for trainer Jamie Ness, who wins at 31% when he takes his horses from a sprint to a route. Before we head on to the last 2 races today, Terry, today we return. I know Sean's excited about this tonight on our Horse Center show, which will be at 8 o'clock tonight Eastern, right here on Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube. While you're at Horse Racing Radar TV on YouTube, do us a huge favor. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up if you like what you see. Also, down here you see, yes, indeed, Terry, thank you for the segue there. The our social sites for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Horse Race, the number 2, and then day. So Horse Race Today. Our Swiss Army Sean will keep you up to speed on everything at horseracingtoday.net. And one of those things we're going to talk about tonight is a really good friend of the show. Tyler Connor scored his 1,000th win just a couple of days ago. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that win was like and what it means to his career and what Tyler thinks going forward. I know after his big Penn Mile Day, there's a couple of trainers that are chasing him around a bit. So maybe we'll see Tyler take his craft like LeBron James to South Florida. We'll find out tonight. Maybe we can break some news. I don't know. All right. So the next race on our card, Terry, is race number 10. I think that's where we are, right? Race 10 at Parx. Race 10 at Parx is a mile on the main track. It's a optional claiming $16,000, purse of $25,000. Again, at 1 mile. Last week they had 1 race. It was 1 wire to wire. There is a slight penalty on the rail. So, of course, we're both geniuses. We start with the penalty post position. 2 through 7 play fair. And there's a big penalty if you wear an 8 or up. Why are we both silly for taking this 1-horse World Party, Terry?
Well, World Party's won her last race at Parx Racing. She has a high percentage winning trainer. It switches to a high percentage winning jockey. And I always like to sometimes go against what's happened in the past. Because I think eventually it's going to change. Number 5, JD's Vista. She has finished in the money in the last 5 races, winning the last race at Parx Racing. Then my third pick, number 3, Will Lemon Dance. Oh, I don't know if she will or not, but she has won 2 races in a row.
Will Terry dance? Does Terry? What kind of moves you got, Terry?
Oh, I used to dance pretty well.
We're not talking about used to. We're talking about today.
No,
Are you box step, Terry, or what are you?
No, today I don't do much, but back in the day I used to do pretty well. So
yeah, how were those sock hops, man?
Yeah, they were good. I liked them. Yeah. So anyway, she's
swing
won
in the 20s. Did you do any swing dancing in the 20s?
I did, yeah. Not in the 20s, but in the 60s, 50s, and 60s. So I'm not that old. So even if I look that old and talk that old, she has won 2 races in a row, has the highest last race speed rating, and drops in class today. And then my fourth pick, number 4, Pumpernickel. She has won 2 out of the last 4 races at Parx Racing, has a high percentage winning trainer and a high percentage winning jockey.
So World Party last time out won really easily. It's been successful at the distance. It really doesn't win, but at the distance 6 times out, 1 win, 3 seconds, and a third. 1 for 1 at Parx. So the horse, that easy Parx win, I think you'll probably see more in the second race at Parx, despite the disadvantage of breaking from the rail. Will Lemon dance? Will Lemon might dance. Rich don't dance, that's for sure. Winner of 2 in a row after going 0 for 5 to start the career. Was better from the beginning to the middle to the end in her first race off the sidelines. I think you'll see some more improvement here in race number 2, round 2 off the bench. Number 5, JD's Vista, was better in the second half of her last effort. Does like Parx as well. Tried to track twice with a win and a second. And then finally, She Talks Too Much. That's what people say about me, but I'm he. Better across the board in her faster fractions last time out as well. It's a horse that, in terms of form, is trending in the right direction. And then the last race of the day, Terry, is a 5.5 furlong race on turf. There have been 2 of them so far. Both were won by speed last week. None went wire to wire. All wins are from post 4 and out. Terry, to close the show here with that last race, let me pull down so we can see our picks here for race number 11 at Parx. Walk us through your thoughts here at the last race of the day.
All right. Well, I like number 3 as my first pick, Lioness O'Brien of Brittany. She ran a disappointing race last race after being bumped at the start and drops in class today. She should improve at the shorter distance, and her best dirt speed is fastest among today's starters. Then number 4, Awesome New Year. Awesome New Year. She finished second versus similar in her last race at Parx Racing. Has the highest last race speed rating, and a jockey who in the last 7 days, as I've said repeatedly, has done very well. 2 wins and a second and a third out of 8 starts. Number 8, my third pick's systemic risk.
Systemic risk, huh?
Yes, systemic risk. She finished third versus similar in her last race at Parx Racing and has shown that she can compete on the turf. And then number 7, Made to Hustle. She comes in from Penn National after winning her last try to Parx Racing for the first time, and then cuts back in distance, which will help her with this front-running mare.
I like Awesome New Year's the top pick. This one's Bob Dylan. Knock, knock, knocking on Parx turf door 2 times out, 2 seconds. Did show big time, and I mean big time, for furlong pace improvement in his last. And when you look at these short sprints, that turn is really a lot of times where those races are run. So if you can have a similar type number this time around, might be no catch in Awesome New Year. Lioness of Brittany is my second choice, the 3-horse. Should be the class of the field. It's a track dropper from Belmont. Was off for more than a year, came back out, ran an okay race last time at Belmont. This is the lowest level of her career. Has a lot of early pace, does get first-time Lasix, but Source is running a grade 3, if I remember correctly, running a non-graded $75,000 race, goes to Belmont, runs at a decent race, and then it comes to Parx to run an optional claiming 16. And the thing that really concerns me is this is an optional claiming, not straight claiming. So they have a choice to put the horse in for a tag or not, and they put the horse in for a tag. It looks to me like they're trying to get this horse bought, but it does have the class to win in the event nobody puts in the claim. And but that does concern me a bit. Number 8, Systemic Risk. Better numbers in the first half mile of her last race. Really solid at the distance so far. Out 8 times, 4 seconds, 2/3. Just hasn't collected a ticket to the winner circle. But this one does have one of the best turf pedigree scores in the field. And finally, number 9, One Tough Rose. Been off for more than a year, but does have a ton of back speed. Decent works getting ready. But her off-dirt record suggests that she might take to turf in her first grass go. And if she does, and that back speed shows up today, has a chance at a price to collect the big check. Hey, Terry, so along with being the last race of the day, it's also the end of a bunch of different sequential bets there, Terry, specifically the Philly 5 and also our prime pick 4. So let's first take a look at our Philly 5s, and these are the late pick 5s. Terry and I are restrained by a $100 budget. Again, we have the same ticket structure in that we have 2, 2, 4, 4, and 3. I decided on that first leg just to try to go alive. And to be honest with you, it was kind of hard to figure out which race to only go with 2 for me. but you got to make choices somewhere. I made my choices in races 8 and 9. We can't both win because in race 8, Terry has 2 horses, the 4 and the 2, and I have the 3 and the 6. We can't be winners, Terry. What do you think about that?
Well, I think if you got the money, maybe you throw all 4 of those horses in. So,
I said a ton of Parx jockeys at Colonial today working hard. Won't be easy for them. No stiffing horses today at the trainer's intentions. Yeah. All right, and the last part of the day is our prime rib pick 4, Terry, which is, again, the last 4 races. We get a $100 budget. You went 2 horses. Man, you're going to live. And, the weak link in your pick 4 and your pick 5 is race number 8 with only 2 horses.
well, yeah, actually, that's in my pick 5 and my filly pick. But I like the 2 and the 4 in that 8th race, and I found that doing these pick 4s, if I can get a race that I can use 1 or 2 horses in, then I can spread out in the other races that I think are a lot more competitive. I think that 9th race for today is the most competitive race of all. So that's why I did 2 with 6 with 4 with 4.
Yeah, I like the in race number 11. I felt like I can get away with the 4 to 3 and the 8. So I just went with our traditional 4, 4, 4, and 3. Again, here are our full picks for the entire card today at Parx, races 1 through 11. Terry's best bet is in race number 5. Mine is in race number 7. Terry's long shot is in race number 6. Mine is in race number 4. Boxing it up, Terry, in races number 7 and 8. So we have back-to-back box it ups. Quite the B alliteration right there. Our hot dog pick 4 starts in race number 3. I'm going to single up that 7. Hope to catch, like you said, Terry, one where you can get the winner with 1 horse and then spread out a little bit later on. Our golden hour pick 5s look like this. And then finally, our prime rib pick 4s go like that. Then, of course, Terry, if by chance we get a little bit of lucky on our pick today, at the top of the show, we talked about a new friend of ours, did a lot of research for baseball picks, a professor of statistics. So the guy knows math very well. That is Professor Sides. His play of the day today at the Tampa Bay Rays at plus 105. So they're a little bit of an underdog there. You can catch all of his picks over at pickswiththeprofessor.com/play. If you don't put the /play in there, you'll get the Picks with Professor's website. And of course, there is a link in our description to his YouTube channel, so you can see Professor Sides' full slate of picks today in Major League Baseball. Thank you, Charles, for joining us today. Good luck to you. Enjoy your day over at the Colonial Downs opening day. Hopefully the weather cooperates, but most importantly, the horses cooperate, right? Yep. All right, Terry, any final thoughts before we wrap up this Monday?
Well, I'm just hoping everybody has a good week and that you win in everything you do in life. Looking forward to the guest tonight. Really like Tyler. And, I don't know, just feel really good, and I hope everybody else does too.
Yes. If you're going to bet today during the day over at Finger Lakes, you want to head over to guaranteedtipsheet.com. It's their free track of the day. So head on over there for those of you who like free picks. Click the free Finger Lakes and it'll pop up for you. You'll see what the picks are there today. There's a link again in the description, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Use that link if you'd be so kind, or use a link over at horseracingtoday.net. And while you're at horseracingtoday.net, please support the show by clicking on the HRT gear link. You can get a wonderful number 6 hat. You can be number 1, just like Terry. Support the show, and we'd appreciate that. You'll look great at the track as well. All right. Well, as always, folks, we appreciate you joining us today. I look forward to seeing you tonight with Tyler Connor and Sean. And as always, we hope that you think like a winner, you become a winner. And when you become a winner, all of your picks, Terry, they'll end up in the
winner's circle.
Absolutely. Have a fantastic Monday. We'll see you tomorrow when Terry and I are going to tackle Colonial Downs.